Hi, I'm Lisa from Australian travel and migration blog dreamingofdownunder.com, and today I'm going to run through my top recommended things to do in Sydney. I've lived in Sydney for over 5 years and I house sat all over the city for the first 3.5 years, so I do know the city really well. So if you're coming here on holiday or you're even thinking of moving here, I'm going to run through my top things to do. I'll link to my blog post on this below, so check that out if you want to go through more detail, and I'll also link to some other posts on some of the places I'm recommending. So here are my top 15 things to do in Sydney, Australia. Number 1 is an obvious one, and that's to visit Sydney Opera House. You don't realise quite how big and imposing this is until you get up close to it. It's absolutely huge. You can just walk around the outside of it for free, or you can pay to take a tour and look around inside. Or you can go for a drink or meal at the Opera Bar, which is down at the bottom, and that faces onto the harbour, so that's got really great views of the harbour bridge, and it's particularly nice at sunset. Number 2 is the Botanic Gardens. These are in the city and they're right by the Opera House. It's an easy walk. They've got lovely lawns if you want a picnic, obviously lots of flower gardens and trees. If you walk round to Mrs Macquarie's chair, you've got great views of the harbour bridge too. Number 3 is to cross Sydney Harbour Bridge. This is another really iconic landmark you want to see in Sydney. You can either pay to climb the bridge on a group tour, that's quite expensive, or you can pay a small amount to go up one of the pylons if you want a nice view, or you can just walk across it. I would recommend going to the other side of the bridge because you get really nice views of the city and the Opera House as well. You've got cafes in Kirribilli, you've got Luna Park, which is a theme park, and that's free to just walk around if you want to just have a look. You've also got North Sydney swimming pool right on the water. That's a big open air pool, that's really nice. Or you can just have a picnic or walk around on the grass if you want, and it's a great place for photography. Number 4 is to visit the Rocks. The Rocks is a really historic old area of Sydney that's right in the city, and it's on the side of Circular Quay, so you can get there easily from there. It's got lots of restaurants, cafes, bars. There's a nice rooftop bar at the Glenmore. It has weekend markets. There's the Rocks Discovery Museum if you want to learn a bit more about Sydney and the area, or you can walk up to Observatory Hill just for the views. Number 5 is either a day trip or weekend trip to the Blue Mountains. You can get there in about 2 hours by train from Sydney. It's an absolutely beautiful area. There's loads of hiking, there's loads of nice places to stay. There's lots of quite quaint old villages as well. So if you get the train, Katoomba is the main place to get off, and that's where you'll see the Three Sisters rock formations, which is quite famous. Also Loira is a really nice town. The train does stop in all of these little villages. I've got lots of guides and itineraries for the Blue Mountains on my blog, so I'll link to those below. Number 6 is to do the Bondi to Coogee walk. Sydney has absolutely loads of coastal walks, but this is the most famous. It is a really beautiful walk. There's lots of cliffs and beaches along the way. It's about 6 kilometres, so it's not too long. You can go in either direction. Both Bondi and Coogee have lots of bars and restaurants and cafes if you want to stop for a meal or a drink at the end. And you'll see Bondi Icebergs, which is the famous kind of club with the swimming pool. If you're there around October time, they normally have Sculpture by the Sea on, which is an art exhibition on the Bronte to Bondi section. Number 7 is to get the ferry to Manly. Manly's on the north side of the river, facing out into the ocean. It's a really big beach with surfing, and it's got lots of restaurants, cafes, bars and shops, and it's just got a really good vibe, so it's a really popular place for a day trip. The ferry ride's really pretty too, so it's worth doing. Number 8 is to visit an art gallery in Sydney. You've got lots of choice here. You've got the Art Gallery of New South Wales, which is near the Botanic Gardens. That's in a really lovely big old building. You've also got the MCA, which is the Museum of Contemporary Arts. That's at the Rocks, so you'll see that at Circular Quay if you look to the left. Another one is the White Rabbit Gallery in Chippendale, so you can walk to there from the city. It's just a little bit south of the CBD, and that's got quite a lot of cool modern art in there. Number 9 is to eat at Barangaroo or Darling Harbour. These two areas are right next to each other on the water side, and you can get there easily from the city. You can either walk or you can get the ferry. There's lots and lots of restaurants and bars and cafes all along the waterfront, so it's a great place to eat out for dinner. There's also the IMAX Theatre and Madame Tussauds, and there's an aquarium too. Number 10 is to visit Cremorne Point. This is just north of the river. You can get a ferry there or the bus from the city. It's got really great views of the city skyline and the harbour bridge and Opera House, so if you want to get a photograph with all of that in one go, that's a really great spot to do it from. You've got some grass if you want to sit and have a picnic. There's also a free open air swimming pool, and if you do the short walk to Mossman Bay around Cremorne Point, you'll pass loads of really nice mansions. You've also got Lex and Ruby's Gardens, which is kind of a secret garden down the cliffs a little bit, so it's really worth checking out. Number 11 is to visit a weekend market. These are really, really popular in Sydney. Some of my favourites are Glebe, which is just to the west of the city. That has nice second-hand clothes and food and usually live music, so it's got a really good atmosphere. It's in quite a studenty area as well. You've also got Kirribilli, which is just north of the bridge, so you'll get really nice views of the city from there. That's quite cool to walk around. And also at the Rocks on weekends, you've got a lot of stalls there which sell gifts. Number 12 is to take a day trip to Palm Beach. This is up at the very northern tip of Sydney's northern beaches. You can get the bus there. It takes about an hour or an hour and a half. It's where Home and Away is filmed, so if you've watched that before, you recognise the beach and the lighthouse. You've got a really nice long beach on the ocean side with an ocean pool. You've also got calm water on the other side on Pittwater with the beach there. You can do a short but quite steep walk up to the lighthouse and you'll get amazing views from there. I would recommend eating at the Boathouse, which is on the Pittwater side. That's a really lovely cafe. It's really worth doing a visit up there. Number 13 is to visit Newtown. This is in the inner west. It's only about 5 minutes by train from the city, and it's a really quirky, kind of arty place. It's got a really long high street called King Street that's got lots of bars, restaurants, kind of boutique shops. It's a really interesting place to visit, and it's quite different for Sydney, really. So you can go there either in the day and look around the shops and cafes, or you can go at night and go for a drink if you want. There's lots of street art there too, so it might be worth looking that up or just having a look around because you'll see it. Number 14 is to take a day trip to Watson's Bay. You can get there by bus or by ferry from the city. It's a really nice seaside place with quite a holiday feel. When you get off the ferry, you can get fish and chips and eat them on the beach, or there are restaurants or a really nice big pub as well. You can walk through the national park on a really nice walk to the lighthouse. You've also got Camp Cove Beach. This is really nice. And a lot of people don't realise that if you just walk to the other side of Robertson Park, which you'll see when you get off the ferry, you've got really nice elevated views of the city skyline. And in the other direction, you can look right down the cliffs. Number 15 is to visit the Royal National Park. This is just south of Sydney. You've got lots of beaches and lots of walks. You've got some beaches that you can only get to by hiking. You can drive to Watamala Beach, which has a big lagoon that you can swim in, as well as Audley Cafe nearby. That's lovely. You can also get the ferry from Cronulla down in South Sydney across to Bundeena. That's just at the very northern tip of the Royal National Park. And that's a lovely village that has beaches and camping, and lots of artists live there. You can do an art trail once a month. Also, the Figure of Eight pools is in the Royal National Park. That's quite famous. Lots of people get their Instagram photos there, but just look up the tide times because it can be a bit dangerous walking down there. Okay, that's it for my top 15 things to do in Sydney. I hope you found that useful. I'll link to the blog post on this below. Let me know in the comments if you want to add any other places to the list. I know there's lots more. This is just a really quick overview. And please like and subscribe for more videos on life in Australia. Thanks for watching. I've also got this in a blog post, so I'll link to. It's a really big Britain. And if you go in the daytime, you've also got the iMac. If you go in the daytime, there's also a free pool. And in the other direction, you're looking.